Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniXDBS, and we are here to have a discussion piece about a certain mechanic that happens to pop up in every few games when it comes to TCGs. And I want to know as a whole how you guys as a community feel about it. I have my own personal opinions, but I want to kind of lay them all out before we go into my personal opinions about it. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you guys for the support. I'm always going to thank you guys for the support. Been going pretty hard as of late, and I'm not going to stop because I have dreams. But really, I have goals and things that I want to accomplish, and this is just going pretty cool. So I do want to say that if this is your first time around these parts, around Universe X, think about going down there, hitting that like button so the video trends, hitting that subscribe button so you know, are adding on to the Universe X fam, and then hitting the notification button so you never miss a beat. We're going to be doing lots of content when it comes to, you know, Dragon Ball Super, One Piece TCG, as well as Digimon when I get the chance. I think tomorrow is locals for me, and I'm still kind of just figuring out whether I'm going to go, but I might just go and record some matches so you don't know until you know what I'm saying? And that being said, I am just pretty excited to dive into more stuff for you guys. Speaking of new stuff, I did a live last night. It's going to be hopefully my Monday night routine. So if you want to go back there, if you missed it, and see kind of what it was about, and if it'd be something that you want to be there for when it happens, just go down. I'll put the link in the description. And yeah, so with this particular thing, I am going to be asking you guys about a particular mechanic. In the One Piece Luffy starter deck breakdown, which I'm going to link in the description as well because, you know, shameless plugs on my own videos, we had a comment from subscriber Flower Knight saying the opinions around triggers are kind of misguided. Surprises and comeback mechanics are two super important things for any game, card game, or otherwise. And we had a pretty lengthy back and forth in the replies to that. But this kind of did give me an idea for another video, and that's why I wanted to credit him because, you know, discussions bring forth more discussion. And I wanted to talk about that with you guys. Every card game at some point or another has had some kind of what we would consider sacky or very swingy mechanic. And, you know, some of them have really embraced it, some of them have not. Like Dragon Ball Super, outside, like super combos may have been some of the most swingy. Every deck has it kind of mechanic, you know, SERs, you can argue those, but I think super combos kind of have been one of the most ones. But when you look at other games that have been popular in the past that have this kind of things, you can look at stuff like Card Fight Vanguard, right? On screen right now I should have a trigger card. They have these trigger cards where, you know, whenever your Vanguard, which is your main unit, attacks, they can look at the top card of your deck, and then, you know, that's just a card that you add to your hand. Some of them have something called a dual drive check, which looks at 2. And most of the time, you're just adding a card to your hand. It's your main form of drawing. But if you have one of them revealed that's a trigger, they can add various effects. All the triggers add a certain amount of attack or power to your card, 5k. But if you have a critical trigger, one of the most detrimental ones to life, you're going to end up adding a damage value to your card. If your card was going to do 1 damage swinging, it's now going to do 2. So that's a huge thing because dual checking 2 turns a single damage into potentially 3 damage. You have draw triggers, which are going to add 5k of power to something and then draw a card. Stand triggers are going to add 5k and bring something from rested to unrested. And then you have heal triggers, which are, you know, the rare, so you only have a certain amount in your deck, but heal triggers are going to literally heal. They're going to add on to your shields. So you have that. In Digimon, you have security. For most of you guys that do play Digimon, you already know that security is one of the biggest things in that game to be afraid of when you're swinging. Like, yeah, you can swing into a thick Digimon and get your Digimon killed, but there's nothing like having 2 bodies on board that can swing. Your opponent having 1 life, 1 security, and so that you need to attack once and then attack with the other Digimon, that's game. And you attack once and you flip over a Terra Force or Gaia Force, and then Gaia Force chooses your other not swung yet with Digimon to smoke off the field. And then, oops, because you swung into some RNG, your game push is done. Yeah, you have, in One Piece, they're actually kind of putting this up themselves. There's like the card I like looking at right now, All-Star Disaster. All-Star Disaster, Animal Kingdom Pirates. This thing has a effect of drawing 1 card, then revealing 1 card from your done deck and then flipping it in active mode, effectively ramping you a done. Now, if you have this in your life and it's swung on and it gets revealed, you just use that effect. So your opponent just attacks, and just because they attack to try to further their game, you're gonna further your game by ramping one and drawing one. And then for some of you guys that go, well, okay, this is only in like games that are like, this is popular in anime games, this is popular in, you know, less competitive games. That's not quite true, because if you played Magic, you should know the mechanic Miracles. With Miracles, it was a mechanic where when you draw, if this is the card you drew for turn, you can activate it at a very much cheaper cost. And I'm gonna put Bonfire of the Damned on the screen because this is the one that like grinded my gears the most. Terminus was also pretty strong, but still, Bonfire of the Damned, okay? So it is XX red, and what that means is, I'll explain it a little bit later, but it's like Bonfire of the Damned deals X amount of damage to target player and every creature that they control, okay? And then, so if you wanted to deal 2 damage to each creature they control and the player, you would have to tap 2 for 1x, 2 for 1x, and 1 red. So that's 5 total mana to deal 2 damage to the player and everything. That seems like, you know, hefty, and it is. To deal 3 damage, which is a moderate number, not too great, but definitely above shabby, you'd have to be tapping 7 mana, which is outrageous. However, if you flip this card over, for the first card you drew for turn, it was Bonfire of the Damned, the cost goes down for its miracle cost to red X, meaning if you had 6 energy, you could tap all of your energy, or all of your mana, to deal 6 damage. Well, 5 damage to everything on your opponent's board, which is a fairly moderate board wipe, and then 5 damage to your opponent, which is a fourth of their life. And so that is huge. Most of the time you were getting these things off for like, you know, even tapping 4 in order to burn everything for 3 is generally, in that stage of the game, if you're tapping out 4 to deal everything 3 damage, that's pretty much guaranteed, like a little board wipe pretty much at that stage of the game in that format. But that's the thing. You had a whole format where people would draw, and instead of just drawing to their hand, they'd check the top card of their deck. And then, you know, then they add it to hand. Or if it was Miracle and they wanted to use it, they flipped it and then popped it. So you're looking at a position where this is a very, very swingy format. Like, you could literally be in a very, very strong game position, have your opponent go flip skis on the Miracle, and then they completely turn the game around. Some people very much so liked it. Some people felt like it was very, 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 very luck intensive and took away from the skill that Magic generally bases itself in. And that's a huge thing. That is a really huge thing. So my question to you as the viewer is, what do you feel about mechanics that swing like this? Do you think that these are integral for the excitement of a game? Do you think that these take away from the competitive standpoint? I personally feel like there's a argument for both, but they both belong in separate categories. For instance, Vanguard, Cardfight Vanguard, and Digimon, right? I put those almost on the same platform as that. They're both very fun for me to play, and I will enjoy playing them at locals. I will enjoy playing them with friends, mostly Digimon now because I don't have lots of Cardfight Vanguard friends anymore. But when it comes to going and playing for prizes, it unsettles me to a high degree on Vanguard more than Digimon, because with Digimon it's mainly just security, and sometimes that just is what it is. You swing into a Gaia Force or a Cactus Breath, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, it just happens sometimes. But in games like Vanguard, I never like the fact that your opponent could win on accident. Your opponent has 2 swings and they attack you, right? With their Vanguard first, and the Vanguard goes, drive check. Okay, that's a crit trigger. I'm up at 2 damage. Oh, okay, that's another crit trigger. I'm up at 3 damage. And you're like, wow, I have 3 shields. I guess I just take 3 shields. And then they swing with their last guy, and that's like bruh, like, I feel like, or I think it may be dead on that 3 shields. But it's just kind of like the fact that your opponent can win by accident, or you have a totally calculated turn and you swing in and they get a heal trigger and just negate the 1 swing that you thought was the first out of your 3 swings that would make a game be possible. And I think that those things make it fun in the sense of casual play. Like, oh man, you were having so much fun, you got double crit triggered. Like, yeah, we would joke on people for that. We would, like, somebody would be like, oh, I'm about to game, be like, in before double heal trigger. Like, we would joke about that. However, in terms of competitive play, I never want to be sitting on my last round on the bubble with prizes on the line and die because somebody just crit triggered, heal triggered in the same drive check, and it literally put me in an awkward position, but then after that put them in a position where they were out of game's reach because of RNG. That's not something that they did intentionally. That's not something that they tried to do. It was just like, it was there were odds of it happening, and it happened in their favor, and that makes me kind of turned off by it. Now, in that regard, there are certain games that are less impacted by that, like Digimon and One Piece, for instance. So far, none of the triggers or security effects have been very detrimental to life. Like, yes, you can remove a Digimon, yes, you can ramp draw, add defense, kill something, but it hasn't been like a trigger or a security can force you further into game, or like could put you, like, yes, it could protect you, but I'd rather it be protection than it be pushing you into a more advantageous space just off the top of the deck on an RNG slot. Miracles, I do feel like Miracles was a misstep for Magic. I get it was in theme with the Avacyn block, but I do think it was a very much so misstep in the competitive structure of that game. But on the other end, when it comes to competitive play, I sit here practicing for X amount of time a week with X amount of people to make sure that I know my matchups, I know as many situations as possible, I know the lines of play that I need to do, I know as many things possible that'll help me win when it comes down to it. And when I get to these tournaments, I put my like integrity as a player, I put my knowledge of the game, and I put my practice all into this event. And when I can say that I've put in X amount of hours to prepare for an event, the last thing I want to run into is me getting mised by something that neither player actively did in a game. Like, yes, you started off by deck building to play, your crit triggers, your security checks, things like that. But it wasn't as if you saved that move for me to get hit by it. It wasn't as if you were like, this is exactly what I'm going to set up for contingency. You were lucky enough to pick up the top 5 of your deck and there to be triggers on it. You were lucky enough to shuffle your deck and then have 2 crit triggers on top. You were lucky enough to take the top cards of your deck and put them into your life and have triggers in One Piece. And that's the part that gets to me. If I'm playing casually and there's nothing on the line, or if it's just locals, I don't care. It's fun. It's swingy. It's fun. But I think that when I get to the higher forms of competitive play, that's when I don't want mechanics like that in my game. But I want to know what you guys think. Just let me know in the comments whether you think it's better or worse when games have these things, whether it's fun, more exciting because of its predictableness, or whether it's annoying to you because it isn't exactly predictable. And what I mean by that is, neither player was able to willingly put that into effect. Just let me know. I am interested because I know that Flower Knight can't be alone in the way that they think that these mechanics are integral to any card game. So I just want to know how many of my subscribers think it's better or worse. Just let me know, and I will, maybe make a follow-up video at a later time. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and like I said, if you did and you're already here, think about going down and hitting that subscribe button and joining the UniX family. Yeah, like I said, I will be shouting out everybody that's subscribed in batches, and yeah, you could be in the next video. So thanks. Have a great day. Later.